Today I'm going to be talking about Season 1 of the YouTube original series Cobra Kai. Now this is of course a sequel series to the Karate Kid franchise. I mean, mainly just the first Karate Kid movie. I don't think Karate Kid 3 and 4 are mentioned at all. And really there's really only like a couple small references to Karate Kid 2, I think. And I'm pretty sure I've only actually seen the first two Karate Kid movies, and I don't remember anything about Karate Kid 2, so maybe I haven't seen it. But the first Karate Kid movie was a very good movie that I liked a lot. It's not something that, like I grew up with or anything. It's just something that, at some point in my life I decided to watch, and yeah, it's a very good movie. I was kind of surprised to find out that they were making this a little bit, and I had heard about that theory about like, oh, how, Daniel's the bad guy and Daniel's the real bully here, and I never gave much weight to that theory. You always see some of these convoluted movie theories like, oh, Ferris Bueller doesn't actually exist or whatever, and this is all Cameron's head, or stuff like that. I never put much weight into these theories because they just seem a little too much. You're putting a little too much thought in this, and so when the trailer for Cobra Kai came out, I kind of, I'll admit, a part of me kind of rolled my eyes a little bit, like, okay, yeah, I see what you're doing, I see what you're doing. You're making him you're making Johnny the main character here, okay. And I thought about giving it a chance, and I ended up watching it pretty late compared to when it actually did come out. But overall, I would say that this was pretty good. I feel like it kept in line with the original Karate Kid in some ways. It definitely paid homage to it, and the story is somewhat similar, but it like flips it around back and forth a couple times, and it's interesting how they handle some of these characters compared to characters from the original. It's like you have the main character Miguel. I guess he's kind of the main character. I feel like Johnny and Daniel would be the main character more, but it's kind of, it's Miguel more the main character because he's the kid we're following through with this, like Daniel was in the first Karate Kid. It's interesting the parallels he has in his story with Johnny and with Daniel from the original Karate Kid movie, so that's interesting. And I also really liked how they handled both Johnny and Daniel, and it wasn't really positive or negative in either one of them. In many ways, they're both the antagonist of the story and the protagonist of the story. We see a lot through both their eyes, and I really enjoyed that we did get to see a lot of Daniel in this story. I thought that maybe there might not be as much of him as there was Johnny, but there was a nice even balance between the two characters, I feel. And there is the whole thing about how, Johnny's not this big bully, but he kind of was the bully in the first one, but it almost kind of shifts blame away, so to speak, from Johnny and more towards Kreese. I think that's his name, who was the original leader or whatever of Cobra Kai. And it's just, there's some really interesting parallels that I enjoyed. There were a lot of, moments where I had a huge grin on my face, or smiling, or laughing, and there were one or two emotional moments. I don't know if they were really as emotional as maybe they had wanted to. A lot of it did deal with Mr. Miyagi and his character and the relationship that they had, the relationship Daniel had with him. but it was a very human story, a very real story. There was, and I enjoyed it. There were a lot of nice callbacks to the original one, in similar ways, and they did it in some surprising ways that I didn't really expect. Uh, I'm I'm definitely looking forward to the second season of this. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it would be interesting now to kind of see them go away from the traditional Karate Kid story that we kind of got in the first season. The first season was very much kind of like a remake or a reboot of the first Karate Kid. There were some interesting parallels. They switched things around a little bit. They changed a lot, but it was still very much kind of the same in ways. So it would be interesting now for a season 2 of Cobra Kai to change things up a little bit, to just kind of have more freedom to maybe be its own thing. Not that not being its own thing was such a bad thing in season 1. It's just that now season 2 can progress a little more going forward. And there were a lot of good characters in this too. I wanted to mention, I think by far my favorite character on the show is Hawk. He was definitely one of my favorite characters of the show. I really enjoyed his storyline and his arc. I thought it was definitely one of the better ones in there. Not that there were bad ones or anything, but it was the better one, the one that I enjoyed a little bit more than some of the others. So that's that. Yeah, I guess just to wrap it all up, I mean, I enjoyed the season a lot. I'm definitely looking forward to another season, and I think that's gonna be it.